Hi there, folks. Saber4 here, back the day before pre-release or a few hours before pre-release, depending on where you are, with another look at some things from Legends of the Force. Let's break some more cards. Before we begin, if you have not already, please subscribe to the channel. Liking the videos helps me out. Subscribing helps me out. I appreciate doing either one of them. Before we really run, we're going to talk about a Set 4 wrap and a Set 5 plan. It is pre-release week, and I'll give a moment to that one. I finally played an event with my Luke 4 Red, and then we'll break some more cards. So hit that subscribe button, and let's go ahead and dive in. Set 4 wrap, Set 5 plan. First off, thank you so much for being a part of this. We're a hit. I've enjoyed doing this through the Jump to Lightspeed set, and have enjoyed making stuff for this upcoming Legends of the Force. I looked back and have a video from right around 3 months ago at the beginning of April, talking about goals for the Set 4 cycle. And at that point, my goal was 500 subscribers and 3,000 watch hours. And those felt like they were obtainable goals, and things that, within a cycle, we'd be there. We're at 1,085 and 5,900 watch hours. We're more than double both of those, with those 5,900 being the closer to 6,000 version than to 5,900. We're also nearing 70,000 views, and that is phenomenal. Like I'm humbled to see that, because it means that folks are tuning in, folks are checking out the channel, checking out the videos, following, watching, doing a lot of things that are active and engaged with the game community. And I'm absolutely thrilled to be a part of it. Thank you for being a part of it. I love doing this. And so really, really awesome to have you guys here. My goal for the next set, when I look back at that video, is still the same. I would love to preview a card, maybe with the upcoming cycle of Legends of the Force. We'll get enough traction to be able to kind of be on the radar for that. I think it would be a really cool thing to be able to do in the future. Long-term goals. Would love to be one of those people that has done this well enough that I am deserving of a press kit. I think those are pretty awesome to be able to view and be a part of. Would love to get that down the line. And then, hey, FFG folks, if you're watching, a Saber 4 card would be phenomenal. It is a TIE fighter that was involved in the Battle of Endor. The pilot aboard was a double ace, red stripe with 10 kills. So, not without merit. So if you want to throw up throw a Saber 4 card out there, or just, pitch it and ship me the art, I will definitely use it for the channel. But anyway, let's talk about the Set 5 focus just really briefly. Early July, we're going to do a meta watch. We'll talk about how to counter some major decks, and we will do that, as we get towards the Galactic Championships. Hey, no thank you. No thank you, Bear. Sit. I have a giant hound. You've seen him on the channel. I make no apologies. Late July, Galactic Recap. We'll talk about what went on in the Galactic Championships, because the Galactic Championships are not only the cap of Season 0, they are the start of Season 1. And so we will have a lot to unpack between the Galactic Championships themselves, the qualifying event, the 3-day big event there at the championships, and the side events, which are signaling the start of Season 1. Sit. The big things there is that's going to be, as major of an event as that is, that's going to be way more than we want to cover in one video at a time. We'll break down kind of what we see in each of those and the directions that the meta is heading. August will be meta updates and developing counter strategies for decks that kind of develop as the Legends of the Force cycle goes into full swing. Bear. Sit. At the end of this here, I got to play a end of cycle showdown. I played Luke Tarkentown finally, and got to play it in a event with several competitive players. That was a lot of fun to be a part of. We got a chance to play that one largely because of a video that I was watching. So that said, I wanted to give a big shout and a big thanks to the folks over at 2 to Base. Support your local creators, guys. Hit the like button, subscribe to them, chat with them. You know, one of the reasons why I was able to play at this thing was that I watched a video that got put up. That channel is sponsored by a local card store. They happen to be the host for that. Played B7 at it. Got a really sweet token from them. Nice little thing to go along with the other metal tokens. Got some good little heft to it. Nice little way to mark which part of the board is my hand. So support your local creators. Great game by B7. He was playing on a Boba Data Vault deck, which I will say he beat me quite handily, mainly because Tarkin Town is 8 points smaller and the ships have a maximum of 4 health. That does not soak up damage terribly well, but he played very well. It was a lot of fun. The tournament was a lot of fun, a lot of great players there. I did take a game off the guy who was sitting in first at the end of Swiss. Beat one of the guys who finished in the top 8. So had a great time. The only downside, I didn't wind up drawing Trench Run. Makes me very sad. I wanted to play that deck the entire time because I wanted to play Trench Run once in this cycle in a live event that was somewhat competitive, and it didn't get to happen. Oh well, maybe next time. All right, let's break some cards. With this, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the leaders in the setup of each of the cards that we're going to try and break, and then we will talk about how we are going to do each of them. First off, you better have Sentinels. This is a Grand Inquisitor setup. We are going to run the Grand Inquisitor from Spark of Rebellion with a yellow base. You want Grand Inquisitor with Legends of the Force. You want Sneak Attack, Scimitar, and the Scythe unit. So your 3 units out of Legends of the Force, and a leader and a card out of Spark of Rebellion. What are we doing? Well, there are 2 different things that we can do. Sneak Attack into a Scimitar. Nice big play on turn 2. Because you're playing Sneak Attack for 2, you can now pay 1 extra and play Scimitar. This is going to get you a 3/4 readied unit out in space, which is typically a pretty hard thing to get around. And as long as your opponent hasn't started out there, they're not going to have anything that can really counter into you. Swings for 3. When Grand Inquisitor readies it, it is still a 3. It is still a 3 unit when the Grand Inquisitor readies it. And now, once it is damaged, it becomes +3/+0. So your second swing is going to be for 6. So 9 damage on turn 2 is a pretty powerful play, especially with a deck that probably swung in for 3 damage or more on turn 1. So if you're sitting 12 into a 25 to 28 health base, you are a decent way through the base on turn 2. A 5 resource play, and I have managed to pull off both of these in games, is to have Sneak Attack ×2 in my hand, and I had, in this particular case, the Grand Inquisitor unit and the Scythe. What you do is that you use Sneak Attack to bring in the Grand Inquisitor. He comes in hidden, and so unless they have a way to deal damage to him directly with a targeted card, he's not going to be able to be removed. And as long as he is not removed, the Scythe is also going to come in hidden because it shares that Inquisitor keyword. Well, both of those are now ready units. So we swing the Scythe, we add 2 to the Grand Inquisitor, we ready the Scythe, we swing it again, we add 2 more to the Grand Inquisitor, and then we swing the Grand Inquisitor for 8. So a total of 14 damage on 5 resources. Granted, you are going to be defeating both of these cards at the end of this phase. However, 14 damage is half of one of the new bases. And quite often, if you have been working your way through some of the other things that the Grand Inquisitor is doing, you are at most one action away from winning a game. If you've played your units well and you played wisely and your opponent has not had an opportunity to eliminate them, so they get a second swing at any point in the down cycle before this, you probably have won the game with this attack. All right, moving on. Chancellor Palpatine. Don't do that again. This involves Anakin Skywalker from Legends of the Force, Qui-Gon Jinn's Aether Sprite, and Heroic and Villainy cards in your discard. What are we doing here? Aether Sprite on 5 comes in before Anakin Skywalker. Well, we attack with the Aether Sprite, which is a decent-sized ship in space. Its on-attack ability does not require it to survive, but I can use a when-played ability again. Now, I put something incorrect on here. I said 4 instances. It is 3. You get to use one of them again, but you get to assign 3 instances of -3/-3. There is not a thing in this game that will survive Anakin coming onto the table. If they have a huge unit on the board, it does not have 10 health at 6 resources. And so at this point, he could also do very well to clear most of a board. Leave you behind at worst a couple of things that are out here: Qui-Gon's Aether Sprite and Anakin Skywalker, a big threat on the ground and a big threat in space. And he leaves behind a 5/7 body with 3 instances accomplished of this -3/-3. Jabba the Hutt. This time we are not talking about Ezra. The Court of the Vile Gangster. The setup for here is Malakili, Jabba's Rancor. Now there are 2 of them in Salacious Crumb. Why are we playing Salacious Crumb? Well, Salacious Crumb is a play that we can get on the board. He's a bluff, mostly. But he is something that I can pick up that also soaks up targeting for non-directed removal. So if I have Salacious Crumb on the board and I play Malakili, now I have agency as to whether or not which unit I'm going to defeat. I have agency for picking him up because his pickup is a free play. And so as soon as your opponent does not have a clean answer to Malakili, your next turn, you can pick up Salacious Crumb. And now what we have is the Jabba leader who gives a cost reduction to Jabba's Rancor. And we have Malakili who gives a cost reduction to Jabba's Rancor. We play now there are 2 of them for 3 of our 4 resources. It gives us a discount of 5. Total cost of Jabba's Rancor is now 6. And so we Jabba's Rancor right here on turn 4. On turn 3, on a 4-resource turn. So we are able to get that value, put Jabba's Rancor on the field. He does 3 damage to every ground unit. And because Malakili is on the board, he does no damage to my units. He's a 9/9 that gets to continue to stomp on a lot of things as he attacks. It's going to really be a pick your poison situation for your opponent. They could have some directed removal for him on the next turn, but you're going to have a big creature on the board a couple of turns early, and a big threat to continue to control the ground. Hara Sendoula, the Hothead Spectre. The setup for here, we're going to use Hera with a red force base to just utilize several combos and to make a deck that is not specifically dependent on one combo, but can be very versatile and kind of pour out diverse damage in different ways. We're going to use the Spectres that have an on-attack in their abilities, and those are Ezra from Legends of the Force, Kanan Jarrus, the original Sabine Wren red card, Sabine's Masterpiece, Chopper, and the Ghost. Force Throw, Hot Shot Maneuver, General's Blade all go in here. You can use Yoda. You can use any of the red or green Force units. You can use red or green Force payoffs. And what we're going to do with this is we have now 4 different lines of play. Line 1 is the on-attack units. You can even stack this with the General's Blade so that you can do 2 damage to 2 different units and then wind up bringing in a unit cheaper just by playing Hot Shot Maneuver. Line 2 is the Master the Masterpiece. All 4 of Sabine's Masterpiece abilities could be online at different points in this game. And so you have the ability with Sabine's Masterpiece to make a pretty large impact on giving out more experience tokens, on giving out popping damage, healing base, resetting resources, a lot of different things that you can do with this. Line 3, force payoffs. Ezra and Kanan come in early. You can also add things like Gunji in this deck so that you are able to put down a turn 1 force unit. Force tokens pay off things like Yoda. You could put Jedi Consular in this deck very easily and get yourself in a position where you are able to really kind of run away with things on force payoffs. And finally, Kanan discard. You have enough Spectres in here to bring online a rather large discard from Kanan, who is not the biggest threat necessarily on the table, and make it where you are healing 2 to 3 and really causing some grief if you are discarding 2 or 3 cards at a time. And so this just opens up a lot of different lines of play and does so without really clogging the way that some of the Hera decks have previously. All right, last one. Grand Admiral Thrawn. This is the turn 2 scoop. Extremely dependent. You're either going to hit and everything's going to feel great, or you're going to hit a minor sometimes, or it's just not going to happen at all. The big hit is fantastic. The lesser hits are lesser, but they are still pretty cool. And so let's talk about what we've got here. We have our original Grand Admiral Thrawn, who lets me know what card is on top of my deck. We have the Mystic Monastery, which allows me just to create a force token. I think you see where we're going. We're going to go Bib Fortuna, as I have foreseen, Galactic Ambition, and a deck full of big bombs. Because what we're going to do, this is more luck than setup. If your hand has Bib Fortuna and one of either As I Have Foreseen or a big bomb, then you're in position to start the play. What you want to have happen, ideally, is that you want Galactic Ambition to be on top of your deck. Not only is it a 7, and so you could exhaust something if you really, really had to, but on turn 2, on turn 2, you heard that one right. Bib Fortuna allows As I Have Foreseen to be played for free. Since you have a force token, you use your force token. That force token allows Galactic Ambition to be played for 4 less. 4 less makes it cost 3 resources. Well, now, if I have something like, let's say, Executor in my hand, why would I choose Executor over others? Well, because it's 12/12 that also created 3 tie tokens. And every time it attacks, it's going to create 3 tie tokens. And if they somehow have removal for it, which they shouldn't, on 3, it's going to create 3 tie tokens. And so you're going to have an overwhelming swarm out in space very, very quickly, in addition to a 12/12 overwhelm. Yes, it cost you nearly half of your base health, but the bomb is there and is very, very setup dependent, but makes it something where you can really, really push really quickly. Now, if you have a bunch of other 7s in your deck, Darth Vader, Cad Bane, Darth Maul, who doesn't like a turn 2 Maul coming in to overwhelm somebody's turn 1 play, leaving behind a 7, let's call him a 7/4 with overwhelm. That's a pretty beefy play too. And so there are lots of ways besides just the turn 1 scoop that are huge, huge hits. And all you need to have is Bib Fortuna and As I Have Foreseen. And then just look at the top card of your deck and decide if that's the way you want to go. This is a ballsy combo to pull off. But when you pull it off the big way, yeah, okay, we're going to go on to game 2. When you pull it off one of the small ways, it is still a very, very powerful play. Really fun to see go off. Doesn't always happen because, we're dependent on having 2 cards hit our hand by turn 2. But when it does, my goodness. A lot of fun. A lot of fun to play with. Not going to beat the meta, but here it is. Anyway, that's all I've got for you guys. If you're playing the pre-release, I did promise that one. I have the video up for when your pre-release. I am going to link that into the description for this video. I will also link in the Luke deck that I played, just so that you can see what I failed miserably to win an event with. But thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate you guys being here, and let's see what Legends of the Force brings us. Enjoy your pre-releases. Enjoy your 4th of July weekend. We'll see you guys next time.